Good morning. Um, Here we are on Friday, end of the week. Um, yeah, that's about it. We made it to the end of the week again. It's very cold and today windy. Um, as you might expect, my old drafty house does not. Uh, it doesn't like wind too much. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't care. We don't like wind that much. Um, the front part of the house um, where all the windows are. It's very cold, um, and we're always trying to, balance the needs of the upstairs people as opposed to the downstairs people because um, the uh, the heat, right? The controls for the heat are downstairs, um, but if you turn the fireplace on in the living room, it gets the living room nice and warm, which then shuts off the thermostat for the rest of the house. And it gets really cold. So then they come down and complain. So yeah, we have some negotiations and compromise that have to go on a windy day at my house. Normally it's not a big issue because my son works nights, but these are his days off. So it's a confluence of events, which are making for some conflict at my house. But you know, you know how that goes, right? There's always something that has to be negotiated or worked out. Um, so that's not a bad thing to talk about. This idea of um, negotiation and compromise. Um, so right when we talk about the yamas and niyamas, the highest one, right, the umbrella over all of them is ahimsa, right? That that idea of doing no harm. That doesn't mean, right, that everyone's always going to get what they want, right? But we aren't going out of our way to do something to harm someone else. Right? We are trying to find the greatest good for everybody, and that frequently means compromise to some extent um, of what it is perhaps that you want to do um, isn't going to work out for everybody else, and it may actually be detrimental to other people. That's if you find yourself in a situation like that, I can almost guarantee you that you don't want to do that, right? You want to rethink your options and find a different way to do whatever it is you want to do, or something like what you want to do, right? As we've said many times before, nothing good comes from bad actions, right? You may think that um, whatever it is that you need to do is so important that it doesn't matter if you are sort of trampling over a bunch of other people and what they need. Um, but it's really not true. Um, and that's, I think, one of the hardest things about, right, understanding that we are all one. Um, I mean, for some people, it's really a good feeling, like this idea that we're all one. For people who have kind of lower expectations and maybe a kind of a low self-esteem, they feel like everyone is sort of better than they are. That idea of us all being one is very empowering, right? Makes them feel like they're just as good as everybody else. And it's kind of a step up. But for other people, who have a large amount of self-esteem, shall we say, um, they they have some trouble sometimes with that because um, they're so used to everything always being about them and them being the center of every conversation, every um, idea, right? Everything they've ever thought has really just been about them and where their best interests lie. For them, the lesson is it's not always about you. Um, the greater good might have nothing to do with you. It might be directly contrary to what you think is your best interest, right? Um, your plan. And I think when we really give ourselves over to this idea, and really it is, for many people, it has to be about kind of a surrender, right? We are giving up our tightly held self interest and trusting, right? It really is about trust. We're trusting that the greater good means good for you too. It doesn't maybe mean exactly what you want today, um, but people who are very selfish and self interested, they don't always have their best interests at heart either. They think they do, right? They've got this idea in their head, this picture of how they want things to be, um, but it's a distorted picture. It's a picture that is colored by their needs and their kind of that grasping nature, that fear. Um, because at the bottom of the selfishness is fear, right? They're afraid that they can't get what they want. They can't survive without being so selfish and so grasping, right? Um, at the base of it, it's fear and not trusting, right? They don't trust that the universe has their back. They don't trust that other people um, can be just as helpful to you, maybe more so than you are to yourself. Um, so that's a lesson, right? Getting kind of out of your own way with this, letting things unfold. And that's a real tricky one for many of us. We're so used to directing our life and um, kind of driving things to happen um, that I would say if you see this, if you hear me saying these words and this sounds familiar to you, um, see if you could try just putting things on cruise control for a little bit. I'm not saying stop, don't stop, but just let things go and see how they end up. Um, frequently, we can be very surprised by how how things turn out um, for the best. When we don't know what to do, the best thing is to just wait a little bit, wait to get some information or for things to become clearer to you. Um, rather than kind of leap ahead and make a decision that might um, really be ill advised, simply because you feel like you have to do something, isn't, that's not a great way to do it. Instead, take some time to um, meditate on it, right? In our culture, we say sleep on it, right? Um, this idea that sleeping, when we get out of our sort of conscious awareness, we may be able to get some insight. And um, certainly, that may happen during sleep, but meditation is a great way to do that as well, right? Getting in touch with kind of the flow of the universe, and um, just letting yourself go with it and see what comes up, what options might be available to you. Um, so if you feel like that, if you're feeling, and I think it's funny because this is our culture. Our culture is about um, doing things for yourself, about just taking control and forging ahead. Um, and this can be a very good thing, but it can also be overdone. So if you feel like, um, again, that you have this tendency, right, where you sometimes just barrel into things without really thinking about their implications for everybody, or just because you feel impulsive, or you're tired of like not doing anything, right? Um, it's okay to wait. It's okay to um, give yourself a little time to evaluate, right? What else are you getting? What other kind of information are you getting? Um, Frequently, we don't listen. We get feelings. We get uh, impressions about situations or people. Our intuition will tell us things, and that intuition is part of that knowledge, that deep knowledge that we tap into from time to time. Um, and I mean, I know you probably know people who've got very strong intuition. Well, the way to develop intuition is to listen, right? Listen to that little voice or those feelings that come. Um, and notice what happens when you listen. Um, the results are usually much better than if you just use your brain and don't listen to any other input. Um, and again, that's the way to do it, right? The way to develop it is to work on it, right? It's a it's a circle, right? um, so if you don't feel like you've got it, if you don't feel like you get those impressions or those feelings, um, meditation is a great place to start. Um, Trusting, those feelings that you have. If you are apprehensive about something, there may be a good reason for that. If you don't feel good in a certain situation, leave it. Don't put yourself in positions um, that could be harmful to you simply because everybody else is doing it, or everybody else seems to think it's okay. It doesn't really matter, right? Because what might be okay for someone else may not be right for you. So trust your feelings. Trust the sensations that you're getting in the body. Right? The body is very invested in protecting you, right? I mean, that's what your body does all day long. All day long, your whole life is to try to um, keep you going. Um, so it's constantly, it's fighting a war against germs and bacteria and all these things that, are trying to sort of live their life on you or in you. Your body is trying to take care of that. So um, there is an intelligence to the body that we really ought to listen to. It will not steer us wrong. So I don't remember even where we started with this, but we've ended up with intuition and this idea of keeping ahimsa, right, in your heart and in your mind when you are dealing with other people, when you're dealing with yourself, being kind, letting that be your biggest thing, right? Um, not what is in it for me, but how can I serve? What can I do? And in yoga terms, this is the highest goal, right? The highest goal is to release your grasp on the self and instead turn to the greater good. What could I do to serve? Um, what will this do? Uh, how will this help others? How will this serve, right, the Dharma, right? This is the Dharma is sort of this idea of the the ultimate good, the good of the world, the good of the universe, the good of everything. And clearly, not everything you do is going to have that much of an impact. But to think of that, to let that be in your mind from time to time, um, it will shape what you do. It will shape um, your choices. Um, you will you will craft a life that is not just centered on me, right? It will be us. It will be everything. Um, so keep it in mind from time to time. Um, it can really it helps, right? And this is something that we've talked about here, but you talk about it with a lot of other people too. So this idea that when people are sad or grieving or in depression, um, they're very inward focused, right? We're very much in ourselves. And the way to get out of this is to look outward, see what you can do for others, right? Volunteering, um, doing things for other people. These are the things that bring us out of our suffering and into the world. Um, so, just as those actions can help you, the thoughts also, right? Turning thoughts away from this little space to a bigger space. Um, it's good. It's helpful. We don't always have the strength to do it. Some days it feels overwhelming and maybe not, but it's a goal that we work toward. All right, let's do some asana and move through our day. Um, as you practice, maybe again, instead of thinking of this is just a simple solo practice, you can put that energy out into the world. Dedicate your practice to something greater than yourself, maybe another person or um, a, a movement or a group that you have a lot of faith in, or just the world, just um, towards peace or towards kindness to others. These things matter. Your intentions do matter. So, sitting tall, take a deep breath and then chin down toward the chest. Let the head hang. Moving around. Just move slowly. One way and the other. And back to center. Lean forward. Move around. direction and the other. Back up to your seat. Bring your arms wide. Take a deep breath and then exhale. Hands come together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Once more. Inhale. And exhale. Interlace the fingers. Lift the hands. Gaze up. And then arms down by your side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Once more. Inhale. Right hand by your side, reach across. And then switch. Back up. Lift the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Left hand on right knee, right arm behind you, sit up tall, and then twist. Back to center, twist to the left. And back to center. Tabletop. Sitting back on the heels. Back to tabletop. A few sets of cat-cow here. Inhale, lift the head, drop the belly, and then reverse that. Draw the belly in, head drops down. Inhales and exhales. And then back on the heels again. Let's stack the fists. Rest your forehead here and breathe. And moving back up. Tabletop to downward dog. Walk the feet up. So we're here in a fold. Breathe. Rising up. Standing tall, breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step back with the right. Set the knee down, arms overhead. Hands to the mat. Stepping back, downward dog. Inhale, high plank. And lower. Inhale, lift, head and chest. Lower. Lifting up. Lower. Lifting up. And lower. And then we're moving back up. You can do tabletop to downward dog, or you could do upward dog to downward dog. Take one more breath. Then we're going to step the right foot up. Drop the knee. Arms lift. And then hands back to the mat. Step the back foot up and fold. Inhale. Flat back. Fold. Inhale, lift. Arms high. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, left foot steps back. Set the knee down. Arms overhead. Hands down to the mat. Stepping back. Downward dog. Inhale, forward to high plank. And lower. Inhale, lift. Lower. Lifting up. And lower. Once more. And lower. Making your way back up. And into downward dog. One more breath. Then left foot steps up. Drop your knee. Lift the arms. And hands down to the mat. Step the back foot up. Fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Lifting high, arms overhead. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Let's step to the side. Hands at the waist. Take a deep breath. Lean forward. Breathe. And then rising back up. So that strengthen the legs. Breath in and out. Turn to face the front part of the mat. So we've got right leg out, left leg back. Interlace the fingers. Squeeze back with the shoulders. Deep breath. Fold forward. Rising up. Back foot steps to the front. Lift the arms high. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Stepping to the left. Again, hands at waist or hips. Take a breath. Lean forward. And then let's bring hands to center. So you can be on the floor if you've got a block. You're going to use a block. That's good too. You can be up on the block all the way or halfway. But we're going to have the right hand down, left hand at your hip, and then pressing down with that right hand. We're twisting. You might extend the arm, or you could keep it at the waist. Back to center, switch hands, and working the other way. Back to center, rising up. Breath in, breath out. And then turning. So we are facing the front again. This time left foot is out, right leg behind. Squeeze back with the shoulders. Take a breath. And fold. Rising up. Step up the back foot, arms overhead. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Let's do 2 balances while we're standing here. Tree, standing on the left. You can bring your foot whatever height is working for you today. Make sure that knee is rotated to the side. Nice and tall, holding that balance to center. And then choosing maybe some extension, but it's just fine to stay at center as well. And then switch. So we're standing on the right, kind of whatever we did on one side, we'll do on the other. And set it down, bicycle legs. And then we're going to bring hands at the waist. And then just lifting the right foot. So it might be down here, you could be up higher. You don't want to lean back too far. Sometimes we're trying to lean back, right, to lift it up. Try to stay nice and upright, lifting the leg instead of tilting the body, right? And if this is hard, you can't keep your balance, then just touch the toe, right? And then you can lift from there. And then always just set back down if you feel unstable. Set the foot down and switch. And back down, bicycle the legs. And come on down to a seat. Soles of the feet together. Sitting up tall, leaning forward. Just moving into that place where things start to feel tight. Back up, both legs out in front. Take a deep breath, fold forward. Back up. Let's bend the knees. Soles of the feet to the mat. Lowering down. Getting comfortable on the mat. And then we're going to bring the right ankle, top of the left knee. Maybe press the knee away if things are tight. If you have a little more space, draw that left thigh in towards the body. Rest of the body rests on the mat. And breathe. Switch feet. And then whatever we did on the one side, we'll do on the other. Resting both feet on the mat. Let's come into bridge pose. You could do regular bridge or you could do supported bridge. I think I'm going to do supported bridge today. Hands by your side. Press down with the hands and the feet and find a place for the block to rest and breathe. And then lifting up, remove the block, rest back down, soles of the feet together, knees apart, relax and breathe. And then knees together. Let's hug them into the chest. Rock side to side. And then bring your arms out to a T or goalpost arms. We're going to start lowering both knees to the right. Set your gaze to the left. And then knees to center, setting gaze to the right. Back to center, arms by your side, extend the legs, and then lowering down, one leg at a time or both together, whatever you like. And then just finding a comfortable place to be in Shavasana. Breathing in, breathing out. So when we release such tight control over the course of our life, our actions, and um, what we have set as expectations, we sometimes become aware of things we never even thought of. Um, Opportunities present themselves when you are open to seeing them. Um, your life may take some very interesting turns. Um, but I promise you, when you are thinking of the greater good, when you are working in service to this greater good, the options and the opportunities will be good ones. Um, you might not see it at first, but you will craft a life that um, serves not just everyone, but you, right? Because you are part of that whole as well. Um, when we think of others, we are also thinking of ourselves because we are others just as we are ourselves. Um, if we can think of this, right, as a world that belongs to everyone, we can really um, serve the whole, serve um, this belief of everyone being one. There is no selfishness, there is no focus on your needs over anyone else's. Um, it's a recognition that we all have needs. We all have a right to be here. We all have a right to exist. Um, it doesn't mean that we'll all take the same advantage of those rights. Like, right? Some people are going to work harder than others. Some people are going to um, make better use of the resources they were given. Some people may be born in very advantageous circumstances and may waste it all, may just, you know, end up, with nothing at all. There's no there's no way of really um, there's no way to change that, right? We can't control other people's actions and what they choose to do. But that does not make them any less worthy of existing or living. We all have that right. We all have that right to be here because we are all one, right? That's what so makes it so crazy, right? And so hard sometimes. Um, when we um, when we are one, we can't turn our back on someone. We can't deny their humanity. We can't say, "Oh, well, they're just different from me." They're not. In fact, the people that drive you the most crazy, usually, it's because they they are doing something that you have an issue with, right? Like it's something you struggle with yourself, right? Maybe they're exhibiting a selfishness that you feel, but you don't, you're struggling to control. Maybe they are wasting resources that you wish you had, right? And that makes you angry. Other people, right, are a very good way. Your attitude toward them is a very good teacher about what are you struggling with. What are the issues that you may need to really focus on for yourself. So, right, focus on what you need to work on, rather than what you think other people need to work on. That's their burden to take up. Um, all we can worry about is ourselves in that sense, right? Our attitudes, um, our behavior, right? How are we going to navigate around other people's problems and other people's struggles? Um, our job here is to make things lighter, right? To help ourselves, to help others, to give a hand out where we can, um, because it helps everyone. It helps us as well. Moving then fingers and toes, hands and feet. Make your way to a seat. And then we'll have hands together for a breath in and out. Thank you for taking time for yoga today and for sharing it with me and everyone else here. I hope you have a great Friday. Namaste. Thank you. Meditation. While we're here in this peaceful frame of mind, I know we've talked about this before, but yeah, that's what yoga is, right? The asana practice was designed to get you ready for meditation. Um, it's hard to just sit down and do meditation. I mean, you may know this. Getting yourself in that headspace is tricky. So, the asana is to kind of get the body kind of worked out, get the mind from the focus of being in the pose. You're already there in that kind of meditative state of mind, and we just go a little further with it. 5 minutes, not not too much. So sitting comfortably, relaxed with the shoulders, relaxed with the breath. Okay. We're back. All right. So some yoga, some meditation. There's your Friday. I hope you enjoy your day. Stay warm. I will be back tomorrow. I was looking ahead with the weather forecast, and next Friday is supposed to be 50. So we'll see what happens. All right. I will be back tomorrow. If I don't see you, then have a great weekend.